Good morning, everybody. Let's see, where's my chats at? Here it is. Just let everybody know that I'm currently live streaming. There we go. Oh, people are starting to arrive. Good morning, good morning. Just pop out the chat there so I can see you all. There we are. Oops. No, that's not the right button. There we go. Okay, now I'm looking at you. Good morning, Lord Nargle. Bulbs, how's it going? Gold Dragon. Oh, you've got a special colour on your username. That's cool. Moondog. Hello. Yes, it's me. Hey, Matthew. Hey, Bubs. Hey, Daniel. Hey, Kairos. My loyal Kairos. Hey, Dix Bumpkin. Hi. Sorry it's been so long since I've live streamed, and it's kind of impromptu that I would do so this morning. Oh, yeah, Lord Nargle. Yes, Ed Greenwood does have a YouTube channel, and he does post cool lore video updates and stuff on there, for sure. Yeah, it's been a while since I did a long live stream, Kronk. Hey, Daniel. First time on a live stream. Oh, nice. How's it going? He has returned. Yes, I'm here. Okay, so updates for the month of May. The videos on the A to Z of all the monsters from the Fiend Folio has kind of been on the back burner for the month of May as I've been, well, I'll show you what I've been doing. Okay. So in this little book here is all of the artwork that I've been doing for Super Atomic. Lots and 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 lots of artwork that I've been doing for Super Atomic. So art's one of those things where I don't sit around and generally draw for my own entertainment, which is weird because you got to practice drawing every day sort of thing, much like writing or anything else. To get really good at it, you need to just continually keep at it. Just to show you, this is my little kit of, let's put them back because I've been using them. This is the art kit that I use. This is my collection of illustrating pens and things. There we go. So we've got pens, pencils, and mostly ink markers and things like that. So they're fine tips and brush tips. So I just do pencil sketching and then ink the pencil sketches. And that's my art style. I don't do color and stuff because we're not very concerned about color because we want it to be printer friendly or just have that 1990s style vibe to it, because I'm a 1990s dude. Like that's when I was into role playing and all that sort of stuff. So, and the Super Atomic is very much a product of me and my experience with role playing and stuff. So yeah. Hey KMG. Sending positive vibes. Blue love. Howdy, old Gabe. So Super Atomic, I wanted to talk about this today because I've been talking about doing a Kickstarter for Super Atomic, and I'm starting to question whether a Kickstarter is what I really want to do, because I'm in the mood for disrupting the publishing industry somewhat. Here's my plan, and it's a crazy plan, and it won't make any sense for a minute, but here's what I'm going to do. So Super Atomic is a PDF, and it's designed to be like a print book or a printable book, or to be published. So we've got page layout and margins and artwork and all that sort of stuff, and index and things. But considering the world climate at the moment and manufacturing and tariffs and all that sort of stuff, I sort of question whether it would, and also just accessibility. So I didn't want to have like that situation where you produce an RPG from a Kickstarter and then everybody buys the main book and then that's it. You're just in the dark. So anybody who's bought the book hasn't got an existing community to play with. They really have to go out and convince people to play their new game, and that is a major problem for new products, new games and things. Like, I've got a stack of books that I've backed through Kickstarter. I've never played any of them, and it's been years. And I can imagine that there's quite a few of you out there like that as well, who have like bought a really cool RPG book and have never actually got to play it, and probably never will. But it's like cool to read and to own, but that's not the point of the book. And with Super Atomic, that's really not, because the core of Super Atomic is like very, very, very rules light. It's streamlined to the point that it's designed entirely for like video chat play. So I removed all of the tabletop wargamey sort of elements of role-playing, and it's a pure role-playing game. It still has dice. It still has, basic role-playing mechanics to it, and it feels very much exactly like a role-playing game. But it's got so much flexibility and freedom to it that most of the descriptions of powers and things like that are just descriptions of what it does. It's not very specific. Like, it won't say you can shoot a bolt of fire 30 feet and it does 5 points of damage. There's no points of damage. There's no 30 feet. It's just you can shoot fire to a close distance and immolate a target. And it might say something descriptive like the heat is hot enough to melt a car door. It's all very, very grounded in reality. So it's a simulationist game without all of the mechanics that are bogging down role-playing from a legacy of wargaming from 50 years ago. And a lot of role players don't realize this, and probably Dungeons and Dragons didn't realize this, is that they've been slowly moving towards a more free system with less restrictions. Like, if you go back to D&D Basic or any of the old school games, the first thing that you encounter as a player of modern D&D is that it's incredibly restrictive. It's like there's all these barriers to doing things that you want to do with your character. So, for instance, you can't be a halfling warlock in D&D Basic. You're just a halfling. That's it. Your race and your class are the same thing. And in order to be a paladin, you have to have attributes above a set threshold. Otherwise, there's just no chance. And you have to roll those from scratch. You can't like become a paladin later. So restrictions were a hallmark of early role-playing games. And they had a place. I mean, that was the climate. They were designed for the audience that they were written for. So today, in the modern audience, I have to write an RPG which is for the practical play of role-playing games. And one of the most important things is accessibility, and being able to use it and access it from anywhere. So here's my plan. I'm going to publish it on YouTube as a video. And the way this works is that every single page will be basically displayed during the video. And all the contents of that page will be listed in the timestamps index of the video, because you can have like 5,000 words in the description of your video. So anybody who clicks on the video will be able to just click on the timestamp index of what part of the book they want to go to, and they can just slide the timer until they find exactly the right page and part that they want to read. So you can just quickly access the book from YouTube anywhere in the world, anytime that you have internet access, or if you record the video and then play it back yourself, I guess, if you wanted to. So the reason why this is not incredibly stupid for a publisher to do is that I'm going to flip the script on crowdfunding, right? So instead of pre-funding Super Atomic, it's going to be post-funded, which means all of the work and effort and stuff that I put into the book goes ahead as per plans. It's got our own artwork in it. It's all nothing is derivative from any other company, D&D, etc. So it's all ours. We own it outright. And everybody that clicks on the video, so per 1,000 views or so, or clicks of the video, it's around about $10 US that the video will earn. And so not only is Super Atomic a really easy, fast game to play, but it's also rules absent. So anybody playing any Supers game, including a lot of the ones that are on Kickstarter at the moment, can use the resources and ideas in Super Atomic, because there are there's 163 major powers, 375 lesser powers, 295 mutations, 200 power origins, 100 character backgrounds, and a lot more. That absolutely dwarfs anything that the current Supers RPGs have on offer. So if you play those other RPGs and you want an expansion that you can adapt to those rules easily, because you don't have to convert anything, you're literally just taking the concepts and then adding your mechanics from whatever game you're playing. So Super Atomic is not only a game in and of itself, it's also a source book that anybody playing a Supers game can play. So the idea is that not only do you funnel in the people playing the Super Atomic game, but anybody who wants to use it as a resource also funnel into the video. And over time, the revenue that it brings in gradually over time will probably exceed anything that I would generate on a crowdfunding Kickstarter. And I can provide magazine videos that each month I provide a zine which accompanies the Super Atomic video that provides additional material and stuff. And then I can condense all of those zines into an annual video that I put out, like, So that's the idea. So this is a V publication. So a VPub, a video publication. And this is post-funding, post-crowdfunding. And it's never been done before, as far as I know. Certainly not in the RPG industry. And what I like about it is that it's completely disruptive. It completely cuts out all of the publishing companies, all the middlemen, the $600 Kickstarter fee, getting in backers, getting in, all this sort of stuff, relentlessly promoting it and things like that. I don't need to do any of that. I just need to continue to produce really good video publications for you. And so if it works and it goes well, then we work on expanding and expanding. So all of that money that the video generates gets reinvested back into providing an income for Dave and me to continue to work on producing expansions on the title so it becomes Super Atomic Supreme. So this essentially, Super Atomic will also have a PDF. That's right. Yeah, sorry. Thanks for pointing that out, Fred. Fred's very much involved in the project as well. It also has an accompanying PDF. So not only do you have the video as well, the advantage of using the video is that on the Super Atomic document, if you notice really carefully, I'll just pick a random page here. On the corner of the page is a set of polyhedral dice with random numbers on them. So if you slide the timestamp, this time slider on your video, just to a random point, you've got a random dice roll. So you don't need dice. The game uses dice, but you don't need to have dice to play it. You can just either use an app, which is super easy and cheap these days, or you can just slide using the book itself. This is really important for people who don't have access to cell phones and things like that, or dice, polyhedral dice. They only have the PDF document and can print it out. People in prisons and oil rigs or in Antarctica or something like that, or space, can play Super Atomic without any accessories. It is a theater of the mind game. You can use miniatures and stuff if you want to, but the game is not really optimized for that. The reason why I use such a rules-light, flexible sort of system is because Supers games can incorporate anything. It's a kitchen sink sort of a scenario where you can have cyborgs and magic and aliens and interdimensional travel and time travel and stuff, because anything that happens in a comic book should be represented in Super Atomic. At the moment, Super Atomic is like this is my red box set. So this is my introduction to this rule system, this way of playing, this new production method, this new idea of complete free accessibility to people. So it doesn't cost you anything. I generate the money passively through advertising revenue from Google ad slots and things like that. So Super Atomic doesn't cost anybody anything. They can get the PDF and stuff like that. And if they support and enjoy it, the product itself and the quality of the product is on display. It's bare and open for anybody. So I'm not doing a Kickstarter with the promise that I'm going to give you a good product. But the thing with BackerKit and Kickstarter and Indiegogo and all of those other things is that they're asking you for money with no guarantee and no safety for you that you're going to get a delivery of what is advertised on your investment. I don't like that. I've never really felt that was really good. And I've always felt that Kickstarter and BackerKit and Indiegogo were, well, breeding ground. Indiegogo in particular is breeding ground for just con artists and thieves. There's been a few bad experiences with Kickstarter as well. I don't want to name names, but like there's a certain book about bards that screwed me rather badly. Yeah, gambling essentially. Or, I don't know, begging. Yeah. So I'm not in the mood to beg. I'm in the mood to show you what I can do. And this is a showcase and also partly a gift, partly a passion project, but also it's a big fuck you to all the big publishing companies, Wizards of the Coast in particular, of course. And, you know, I'm sure One Bookshelf and, you know, Drive Through RPG and the DMs Guild and all that stuff are fine folks and things, but they're dominating the industry. They're dominating self-publishing, and so it's time to disrupt things. You know, give an alternative and say if you want to self-publish, you don't need anybody to do that these days. You can literally just turn it into a video and publish it, and anybody can read it and use it anytime they want. So there you go. That's the plan. Yeah, as Fred points out, a 5-year-old could easily play Super Atomic. It is like the easiest game to pick up and run. I am doing well. Yeah, so Super Atomic has been written. Thanks, Fred, it has been written. It is essentially done. We're just doing the artwork and stuff for it now and planning on how we're going to deliver it to everybody. So essentially what I need to do is scan all the artwork that I've been doing. Dave has been doing some artwork for it as well. Dave is a co-writer for this because once we started doing the layout, Dave, he's passionate about this project as well. He's really invested in it. So he came up with the whole concept of like putting an example city, which is Astralis City, in the back of the book, and doing some PDFs, and he did the character sheets and the adventure sheet and all that sort of stuff, and he did all the layout design and things. My contribution was mostly just the bulk of the writing and the layout of how the game is put together. But there was a lot of consultation between me and Fred and various others, and a lot of playtesting. Yeah, but I mean, we haven't really changed a lot with playtesting. I think the only thing we really did was we simplified it and smoothed it even more. So we had an option where if you failed a roll, you could add a point to another roll, but in effect, we never used that in the game, so we just dropped it out. There's no point having a rule in there that nobody uses. So yeah, it's a very succinct game. There's not a lot of verbiage in it. There's no introductions. There's no how to play the game. Oh, there's a page of like a forward from me introducing the game and explaining it. Yeah, that's the thing, Daniel. Me and Dave are both on the bones of our ass at the moment. I'm not going to lie. My channel is probably back where it was about 5 years ago, which I don't mind because I'm just going to stick at it, and I can eat cat food and make videos at the same time. But compared to where D&D and like the Stranger Things era and all of the, where everybody was just like swimming in money, we're now in the dark time. So you're going to see a lot of YouTubers involved in the D&D scene just toes up, and their channels will be pushing daisies very soon, if not already. And a lot of them will just disappear quietly, not make a big fanfare out of it. But I will not. I mean, I will continue to make D&D videos if I have to go and work at the local service station pumping gas. I got no problem with that. yeah, thinking outside of the box. And it's a risky move, like, because I'm considering the basically that's how my channel makes money. So it's an accumulation, it's a trickle of views from old videos, right? So for example, my Faiths and Clerics of the Forgotten Realms video, over time, that's earned me about $4,000 because it's a reference video that people continually go back to and click. The Red Dragon video is one of my most popular videos for some reason. It's a really good video, and that earns, you know, thousands over time, but it takes a long time for it to do so. And what you do is you just continually produce good quality content, and you just put it out there and put it out there, put it out there. Don't make it topical. Don't make it political. Don't make it reliant on current events. Make the videos about stuff which is enduring, which people are interested in, which people want to find out about. And they will continually pull in views for years. And that passive income stream is what allows me to be a monetized professional full-time YouTuber. So I'm not chasing viral videos. I'm not chasing the subject of the week. I'm looking at the long term and what people are really, you know, people who are interested in the lore and stuff of D&D come back to it. So it might not be popular now, but D&D might have a resurgence and those videos will start earning more money again later on. Or there may be some specific thing in the next season of Stranger Things, which just happens to be in one of my videos. I don't know, an Otyug or something like that. And all of a sudden that video will become super popular and start earning money over time, more than the other ones. Yeah, so videos are timeless, and so can a video publication be. A book in the form of a video lasts forever, you know, and it's everywhere. So anywhere in the world you go where there's internet, there's your book, there's your library, accessible to anyone. So barriers to entry was the thing that I wanted to get rid of. So rules, heavy systems, a lot of reading, and like needing a session 0 just to make your character and introduce yourselves, that's a barrier to entry. Because if you're just meeting for a one-off session, you don't want to spend all that time making a character. You want to be able to make a character in about 5 minutes. You want that character to be interesting, zany, and really cool. And Super Atomic delivers that heavily. The vibe of the game is similar to The Tick or The Boys or Kung Fury, pretty much. Yeah, so you can have, you know, a robot cop riding a dinosaur, for sure, maybe. I don't know. I'm okay with it. Yeah. And that's the plan. So, yeah. And so Kickstarter is just like kind of like a pain in the ass. And although it's got the potential to earn like $1 million or whatever, that would just be more pressure than anything, I think. And push me in the wrong direction, I think. Yeah. So I have a plan. I have the expansion and all the additional material and stuff that I want to produce for Super Atomic, like locked in and ready to go. I don't want to release those as stretch goals, you know, or anything like that. I want to just produce the damn book and get it out there so people can start playing it and using it, and then support the community and, you know, make Discord servers and websites and all that sort of stuff. Eventually, the money that the video earns would go into investing into producing an app where you can create characters on an app immediately. Just and then it will random roll up your character straight away. That's easy to do with Super Atomic. You can even, as a DM or the host of the game, with an app, click and it will make an adventure for you. Just the basic core outlines of an adventure. It will do that for you as well. And, you know, so yeah, well, that's the plan. Yeah, it takes 5 to 15 minutes to make a Super Atomic character, if that. You don't need to roll stats. There's no numbers to crunch or anything like that. It's literally just rolling on random tables. And most of the time is just either transcribing what you're writing down from the charts and tables, or just deciding whether you want a mutation or not, or whether you want several minor powers or major powers. It's very, very flexible. Where will the hard copy of Super Atomic be found? Your store? No, you've got a PDF. You can go and print it out yourself. There's plenty of places which can produce a hardcover book for you or a softcover book for you. If there's a huge demand for a print run of Super Atomic, then we can look at crowdfunding for that. And I can easily do that because I have contacts that know publishers and things like that. I've got publishers who are hounding me to hand over the book for them to publish, so I can handle that. But yeah, Hasbro has become a bottom dweller. Yeah, it really has. Hasbro is not contemporary anymore. I mean, Hasbro acquired Magic the Gathering, and it got D&D for free. It never really wanted it in the first place. I don't know. This is a tome that the Gnostic needs for his archives. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know if it's going to work or not. It's an experiment. It's a bold and ballsy thing to do. Some will say that it's stupid, going against the potential millions of a Kickstarter, but Kickstarters fail. I've struggled with both of the Kickstarters for a very good product that I produced last time. So, yeah. And there's a lot of Supers Kickstarters going on at the moment, and I think, people are a little bit fatigued with Kickstarters. So I don't want to have them financially investing in it. I want them enthusiastically investing in it, So if they really like it, they'll share it and they'll pass on the video and stuff like that. And if it's good, then it will organically grow and take off and be successful. If it's not good, then I know, But what feedback do you get from Kickstarter? Fool of a took. Yeah, it's a risky venture. But it's core to my being that I don't want, I want to share what I love. That's why I make videos in the first place. Doing it for an income was a happy surprise for sure, but I would do it anyway. I was doing it for 3 or 4 years without any income at all. This was my hobby. So yeah, that's the plan. Meanwhile, also that Kickstarter has been like last time I dealt with Kickstarter, I had no information, so you're new to Kickstarter, here's a package explaining it all, here's all these videos and stuff. I had no contact with staff, and when I did, they were all on holiday, so they just went off on holiday. So they charged me $600 for essentially 1 week at the end, where they finally gave me the information of what SCUs mean and what this is and what that is. And it was like, they just, every time I asked them a question, they just sent me back the frequently asked questions answer, copy pasted, until finally the one person who was obviously the tech specialist or whatever, or wasn't an unpaid intern or whatever, came back from holiday. And then all of a sudden I got some actual answers. And I was just like, by that point, I was just like, I was already screwed, and my Kickstarter wasn't funded. So yeah, I had to redo the whole thing, and more cost. Yeah. So I came out without losing anything from making those battle mats, but by God, I learned a lot about dealing with American companies like that. Patreon's another one as well. These, unicycle wearing, flannel shirted, top knotted fucking idiots who are all about living in booths. We work in an open space in a collaborative environment, and we've got a vape nest over there and stuff. It's just like, do some fucking work. Anyway, got a question for you, AJ. Hey, thank you very much for the super chat. Do you know if there is any law between Secular and Levistus, since they both share the same ice realm they rule in? If they fought, who would win? Oh, see, this is the thing. If they fought, they would be fighting using proxy forces. This is why they became Lords of Hell in the first place. Secular is more like a god, or he's a demon god, you could say. He's a giant shark, right? A giant, massive shark that lives in a frigid, abyssal, plummeting ocean of doom, despair, and darkness. He is literally the most horrific, predatory beast you could encounter in the Nine Hells. He makes a Tarrasque look like a plushie. He's an eating machine, He's shark magnified. Vape nests, yeah. He's very impressive as a physical specimen. I probably suspect that he's immortal, because he's worshipped by a lot of monstrous powers. So he's a god. Levistus is a devil. He's a lord of the Nine Hells. He's very powerful in that he has a lot of connections and things like that. That's why he's like imprisoned and not killed, because there's contingencies and things like that. And the rule of the 9 hells. Don't forget, as a lawful plane, you can't like break the law there without incurring the wrath of the gravity of the plane. Like if you jump off a building, don't expect to fly just because where you came from, you fly. In the 9 hells, you fall. If you break the law, you fall in the 9 hells. In Mechanus, if you try and make a crooked line, it straightens. You know? That's the way it works. If you're in a plane of the celestials and you do have an evil thought, you get a headache. You know what I mean? It's like if you're an evil person, you're like, ooh, you can't think in the architecture of the plane that you're in because it just doesn't work that way. You're going against the rules of physics in that realm. They're not just metaphorical, they're real. So yeah, devils have to follow laws. Demons don't. Secular is more like a demon than a devil. So yeah. Would he win in a fight versus Levistus? 1-on-1? Absolutely. Against the combined forces? I don't know. So there you go. But do they have any connection? Yes, Levistus would have a means of manipulating Secular if it came to that. He would use him as a pawn, a tool. Probably. You know, weapon of mass destruction. So there you go. Hope that answered your question. Thank you very much for the super chat. Those are super appreciated at the moment because I need to pay my power bill. Hey, all that is Jay. Hey, Nacho. Afternoon. You are most welcome, Gino. Okay, so speaking of D&D, this pile here is just one night's worth of research that I did for... This is all on Mome and the Dragon Princes. So I have a series of videos. This coming month of June is pretty much going to be all dragons because I'm finally going to take you to Mome and the Dragon Princes of Mome. Oh, I've been looking forward to this one. It's one of those ones which you have to build up your skills and abilities for because there's a lot of information to cover and I want to do it in a way that's approachable so that you can literally run a campaign after watching these videos. Hey, Comic Nut. Sorry I'm late, AJ. Did you ever give my Mike and a Voodoo idea another look? Yes. Yes. I have many things on my plate, buddy. But I like it. I like the idea. Will it be from the point of view of the Wandering Sage? No, mostly not. Because this is, one of the things, like my existing audience loves the Sage stuff and the narrative of it and things. The Sage is kind of well established and is good for the monster videos, monster ecology videos, because it places them in the world and gives them an aspect of something, you know, that gives them an entertainment in-world vibe, a fantasy vibe, so you can feel like you're in the Sage's offices and stuff. When I'm writing those videos, I very much am the Sage. Like my mental space is not this room, this house, this world. I'm in the Forgotten Realms, in Candlekeep, and I'm scrying in the Mulharandi language, you know, using celestial script, you know, and writing it in, or maybe just sitting there and mentally directing a quill to write the thing for me in blue ink, you know, while the blue flames of my fire crackle in the corner. And I've got a pseudo dragon curled up next to me, purring, and yeah, that's how I write my lore videos. But for this, it's a major like thematic thing, which anybody who wants to learn about the Dragon Princes, essentially, there is no information past a certain date on the Dragon Princes, and it's hard to find the information. Like the last stuff, really, the last sort of update there was there's a trilogy of books about the Brotherhood of the Griffin, and I think that's the most contemporary lore on Mome there is. Yeah, I've been waiting and waiting. I was kind of putting this off because I thought they were going to produce a campaign book for the Forgotten Realms, but I don't know if that's going to materialize now, considering that everybody that was probably involved in it has left the company. So I don't think we're going to get the 5th edition campaign book that they promised. And and certainly no adventures in Murgome. And yeah, you're right. They have concentrated way too much on the Sword Coast. My specialty is southern and eastern Faerun more than anything. So I want to sort of start talking about the languages that they speak there, their culture and things like the culture of Murgome. You would be very mistaken to say, oh, they're just like, the Mongols and stuff like that, horse lords and Atamans. They're like Cossacks. It's like, yeah, but Cossacks didn't speak what sounds Egyptian. They didn't serve up, well, maybe they did serve up giant sturgeons, but they're a combination of different things that you can equate to the world. So yes, they've got like Mongol culture, but yes, they're also Asian because they're part of the Mulani people. So they originally came from their genetic stock is from Mesopotamia. They're alien to Faerun. So the Mulani people are not native. Well, they weren't native to Faerun. They got transported from Earth a long time ago. That's where the link between them comes in. So genetically, they're different. A lot of the Mulani cultures don't use magic, for instance. They don't have a lot of psychic potential like the Chondathans do, and things like that. Like, 5th edition players of the Forgotten Realms are almost, well, like, they're forgiven for not knowing jack shit about the different races and cultures of humans of the Forgotten Realms. And it's like, cultural sensitivity and all that sort of stuff aside, they've been robbed of the rich, like, you're a human. Oh, great, you're a human. And then, everybody speaks common. Well, in actual fact, if you go to Thay or Milan or Tether or in places like that, you're not speaking common. You're speaking Mulani. You're reading the Celestial script or Draconic. If you go up to the Ten Towns and things like that, you're not speaking Mulani anymore. You're speaking another language. They'll speak, like in Candlekeep, most of the people speak Thalassan. So the common language is just a trade tongue that you use as like, I'll take three of those. We understand what the word 3 is and the symbol of 3, but I would like 3 of your best is difficult to communicate in common. How do you feel is not something that people commonly use in common. Common is a trade tongue, like, Pigeon Latin sort of thing. The 7 flavors of common. But I mean, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And so I will present the information, and whether people want to adopt it into their campaigns or not is up to them. But my job is to present the information as it is. There's a lot of stuff that was very hard to find in this video, hence all the research. Like finding out who the dragon princes are, for instance, is kind of difficult. It tells you that there's a number of dragons or that there are these different types of dragons, but it doesn't have any information on specifically who those dragons are. I had to track those down. And yes, a lot of them are through the novels from the Brotherhood of the Griffin. I cast Fireball as universal. Yeah, true. Hey, Moontest. Yeah, basically you just missed me talking about Super Atomic, but now I'm back on D&D now. Hey, Robert. So yeah, presenting all that info, if I did it in the form of the Sage, it would be too meandering and random, and people would get sick and tired of trying to find the information that they're looking for. So it'll be more organized. So it'll be sections, this and this and this. Still in my writing style, obviously, but a much more organized and sort of formulaic way of producing the videos is what I'm going to be focusing on going forward, so that people can easily find the information. Dungeon Dad is really good at this. He breaks his videos up into sections. But his production values and stuff, I can't afford all the editing and stuff like that he does. Full credit to him. We're moving in different directions. Mr. Rex is off doing stuff, and Dungeon Dad's doing stuff, and Jordan's doing mostly like Dungeon Crawl Classics and other games and stuff. I'm moving into publishing, but producing the D&D lore videos is like a constant background thing, because that's my bread and butter. That's my golden goose. That's what allows me to do these other things. If I had to do a job, I wouldn't have the time to put into all the writing and research and stuff that I do. Because this is the thing about like doing artwork and writing, creative writing and research. A lot of the time I'm just sitting here watching a movie or reading a fantasy novel. Also, like, I actually read a lot of sci-fi. I don't read a lot of fantasy. reading a sci-fi novel, drinking coffee, checking up on things, organizing stuff for the future, collaborating with other people. And then when I'm in the right space, I work, and I work hard and I work fast. So I'll produce a 5,000 word script in about 3 hours or so. And then I'll sort of look up and go, oh, I need to eat, pee, shit, fart, walk around, breathe. I go into a hyper-focus mode. It's not a mental condition. It's just I need to get into that headspace, and I can't do it if I'm disrupted by things. So it's a very solitary lifestyle. I live more in the Forgotten Realms than I do on Earth, I swear. Merry Mermaid 2025. I'm listening to you and writing about mermaids. Oh, excellent. Hey, Sue William. Am I looking forward to working on fantasy monsters for Shadow Dark in the future? Yes, Fred. In fact, this project of ours, so we're producing a monster manual for Shadow Dark, has been nagging at me. Every single time I see an interesting word, I want to make a monster out of it. So yeah, it's on the back burner at the moment, Fred. But when I've got some time, you're going to see another 50 monsters pop out of me pretty much instantaneously. It's called a flower state, is it? Flow state. Oh, there we go. Yeah, flow state. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I exist to live in a flow state. When you're in a flow state, your brain is highly active and it consumes massive amounts of calories. So when I'm writing, I'm consuming about the equivalent of 2 king-size chocolate bars worth of calories. Hence why when I take a break, I work out, I lift weights, I go for walks outside and stuff like that, because I need to keep physically active as my brain is active as well. Otherwise, I get sort of like a discordant nerve jangle. It's extreme. It's like an extreme sport sort of thing, except it's using my brain. And I make no secret of the fact that I use brain enhancing sugar additives like phenylalanine, for instance, promotes dendrite production and additional nerve connections that improve your short-term memory, for instance. So I Pepsi Max, drink Pepsi Max and eat extra chewing gum and take phenylalanine, like all these sugar-free drinks and stuff. Things like the various other substances, coffee, obviously, but other things have an effect as well. Like, for instance, did you know that nicotine, for instance, improves your eyesight and cognitive function? The adrenaline rush actually accelerates what I do sometimes. So you can use that, But yeah, don't do things without, going to university and studying biology first. Hey, Matthew Fritz, thank you very much for the super chat. Hey, AJ, there are 2 different cults of the dragon, or are they individual sects in the same group? Yeah. I don't know at the moment what the current layout of the Cult of the Dragon is, because they've been through a lot of disruptions in the lore, and I haven't really focused on them a lot. The Cult of the Dragon, in regards to the Princes of Murgome, they, as far as I know, they're not really involved. It's like they can operate and prey on individual dragons, but a combined culture of dragons like that is something that they can't contend with. The dragons would turn on them and destroy them, for sure. And the dragons obviously don't share the same view that Samasta does. Samasta is viewed in a very weird way by the dragons. He's almost like an honorary dragon, in a way, because he ended the Dragon Rage Mythal, which they couldn't do. So, yeah. But of course, the ending of the Dragon Rage Mythal is what allowed all this to happen in the first place. But really, it was a fluke chance. Anyway, I won't go into the lore, otherwise I'll start talking about it, and this will start pouring out of me like Johnny Mnemonic downloading 50 teraquads of information into your head. Oh, sorry, second one. Where is it? Oh, another question. There we go. Thanks, Gino, for the reminder. If Secular challenged Dagon for supremacy of his ocean realm, who would you bet on winning? Dagon is a god. Dagon is one of the elder beings of the universe. He's one of the great old ones. So yeah, he would do that Sylvester thing and just go, and you'll have gigantic skeleton of Secular spat out like Sylvester eating a sardine. Yeah. Dagon's a great old one. He's a world ender. Yeah, so there could very well be many sects of the cult of the dragon. In fact, I would say that's probably more likely than not. Cults who operate in cells just sort of naturally anyway. They all gravitate around a charismatic leader who goes out to recruit, essentially. One of the methods of that cults use is they'll send people out to be persecuted for their beliefs, and then once they go out and get persecuted, they flee back to the church or the cult, to the people that love them and share their views and stuff. So they deliberately go. That's why Christians go and knock on doors to tell you the word of God and stuff like that. It's to be rejected and to run back to the church and say that everybody else is horrible. You're the only good people in the world, and it binds them together. Bonds them together further. It's not to convert people over to their religion. Sorry, but I have to just say it as it is. They may think that it is, but the church didn't get them to do that for that reason. Smoke cigars. You don't inhale, and it's just tobacco or pipeweed for diehards like yourself. Vapes. Prana versus... Thank you very much for the donation. That'll probably go towards buying another vape. Yeah, no. It'll go towards paying my power bill. Piranha versus Megalodon. Outcome then. Okay, well, they're totally different environments. What's the closest sea equivalent to a piranha? Probably a barracuda, maybe? I don't know. So a megalodon has got very, very tough skin. It's like covered in bone. It's covered in tooth, essentially. So touching a shark's skin is like running your hand over sharp sandpaper. They don't have like dolphin skin and stuff. So first of all, the piranha would have to actually get into the gills or something like that of the megalodon. Yeah. But I would say, yeah, probably the piranhas. Yeah. Anybody who's ever dealt with a swarm of drones would know. The Stephen King method? What's the Stephen King method? As far as I know, Stephen King... I know a lot about Stephen King because I write the same amount that he does, the equivalent of about 4 books a year. My video scripts are the equivalent of 4 novels a year. And similar to him, the difference between me and Stephen King is he sits down at his desk and he's got like a cup of tea, I think it is, and he puts music on and no other distractions, and he just writes basically all day. I don't generally do that. I very rarely listen to music while I'm working, but when I do, it's usually part of that flow state thing. I have smoked cigars though, and I do certainly enjoy them. But Samaster was using the Mythal Stone of the Draken Rage by combining it with his phylactery or Animacav. What's it? Animacav? This way he could force the dragons to become Dracoliches. Yeah, that was his plan. His idea is that the world is eventually and inevitably going to be ruled by Dracoliches, so he's on the right side of history and wants to raise all of the dead dragons as Dracoliches and be a part of their supremacy over the world. One thing to remember is that the Forgotten Realms is a dragon world. It's not a humanoid world. It's one of the dragon worlds of the multiverse. So dragons are much more common in the Forgotten Realms than they are in Greyhawk or any of the other D&D settings. And that's a big, important thing to remember, that Faerun is full of dragons. Abir, Toril. Abir has got a lot of the dragons that once were on the combined world. So a lot of the dragons went to Abir when Ao sundered them into 2 different planets. And now, of course, we've got Timanthor, which is not actually on my map because it's an old map. But Timanthor has got a very interesting relationship with Murgone, because the dragonborn of Abir that translocated their civilization to the Forgotten Realms tenuously, they're a very martial culture with knights and stuff. And they were under the tyrannical rule of dragons in Abir. So when they arrived on Toril and found a nation next door to them which was starting to go under the rule of tyrannical dragons, they got very, very nervous. However, they did actually combine forces. See what I mean? You start opening the faucet and it starts pouring out. Okay, no. You're going to have to wait for the video. The first thing you learn about the cults is all the sects they have, yeah. Sects. Have you taken the time lately to see a movie or series, and what did you think about it? Yes, I watch everything. Like I say, I have a lot of downtime, which it looks like I'm doing nothing, but I'm just like watching something and percolating. My brain does a lot of background processing. Andor, the Andor series. Man. Awesome. Not quite, didn't have the same goosebumps moments as the first season, I think, but it was really good. Like, I loved the storyline, the plot, the whole like manipulating the public view against a people, and like, yeah, was very topical. It was very politically topical for what's going on in the world at the moment, in a way, like vilifying people and wars for resources being disguised as civil conflicts or political conflicts, when in actual fact it's just greed. Like, the core reason behind the war in Ukraine is greed. It's money, essentially. Which it sounds insane considering how expensive war is, but you know, those resources are worth more in the long run. But I think the moment that they become less worth, like, you know, I don't know. Basically, Russia has got a lot of ordnance that they were stockpiled. Let's not talk about that. Dragons versus Zerg. Dragons, yeah. Zerg don't fly, do they? Does Zerg fly? Anyway, yeah. Dragons' air superiority is very hard to beat. And the fact that they just, yeah, accumulate minions like nobody's business. Draco Lich Volution, yeah. Oh, Spirit Cage, a Soul Cage. Oh, I see, Sue William. Thank you. Trademarked by me. I like it. It's good. Oh, I'm missing some super chats here. So yeah, Moonthirst. Yes, I've watched a lot of series. Yeah, the Invincible series, Andor. I'm still waiting for the boys. Oh, I'm very excited for the boys group. Look like they're going to be doing Judge Dredd series, which is really great. So Carl Urban's finally found some people who are like, yes, you should do it, because they finished the boys series and they're looking for a new project. So they're the people that will bring the right vibe to Judge Dredd for sure. Bubs, thank you. My fiance got got me one of your mugs for my birthday a while back. Wanted to personally thank you for all you do. Here's a cup of coffee. Thank you very much. I really like those mugs. There's a Super Atomic mug now available as well for people who want one. There's also a hooded sweatshirt, Super Atomic shirt, but there's also the t-shirt. The t-shirt is the best buy because it's cheap. It's only like $15 US, I think. And $5 of that goes directly towards paying Dave for all of his layout work and stuff like that, and contributing to our continual work on Super Atomic Supreme and stuff. I know it's a bit of a stretch asking you to support something before you've seen it, but believe me, it's coming. It'll be here soon. Any delays is not disaster. It's just us putting more effort into making it the best that we can make it. Yeah. So if we see an improvement, we don't. So no, yeah, we go, oh yeah. Let's put that in. Yeah. I give a giant lycanthropy as a were-shark in honor of the megalodon. Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. A giant with well, it's not lycanthropy, it's something else, because lycan is werewolfism. So there's another word for it. So yeah, infected with weirness. Let's just call it weirness. And yeah, they would retain their giant size, so you would have a giant shark. So if it's a great white, it would be a megalodon, for sure. That makes a lot of sense for like reef giants and stuff like that. There's also a lot of other giants in the Forgotten Realms that I haven't mentioned as well, like mountain giants, ash giants. Yeah, there's a few different breeds. And I have been meaning to, because my giant videos were one of the earliest set of videos that I did and in a very different format and style than my modern style. So I think I need to go back and redo a lot of those giant videos. Also, there's been an update to a lot of the lore of the giants that I want to catch up on. Probably ignoring a lot of the stuff from 5.5 because I just don't care, and I don't think anybody else will. As far as I can see, any of the lore that they put into the new books is shit, and absolute trash throwaway. I'd say that the latest edition of the game is probably as forgettable as 4th edition, which means that there are people out there who play it and love it, but it's not going to last the test of time, for sure. Most of the lore will be retconned or just ignored completely. Like, I ignore most of the 4th edition lore changes and stuff like that, unless they're relevant. The big one. Thanks, Philip. Member for 28 months. Silver Dragon. Hey, there are Silver Dragon princes in Murgo. Oh, where are we? Cobra Dragon Mummy. Oh, I love Cobra Dragons. They look so cool. Like, Cobras just are impressive, man. They're impressive. When they rise up and go. That's why they put a Cobra style thing in that Alien movie. That was a really cool scene as well. Who would win? 100 unarmed level 1 fighters or 1 lore accurate Umber Hulk. Umber Hulk. Well, the Umber Hulk has got confusion. So if you're playing it in the old fashioned way, there's a good chance that those unarmed level 1 fighters will end up swinging and punching each other. So yeah, the Umber Hulk, using its its confusing gaze, will probably mass affect those 100 unarmed level 1 fighters. But I mean, punch damage is not to be ignored. And they could literally just, 100 of them could literally just dogpile and pin the Umber Hulk down. It couldn't lift 100 people. Would demon worship turn Doomslayer into a D&D god? Yeah, potentially. They'd still need to undergo basically invitation into godhood, in which case you need to basically be approved. But yes, yeah. There's no one way of becoming a god in D&D, and there's set methods for becoming an immortal which are different from becoming a god, and becoming an immortal is actually much more difficult than becoming a god in a way. And becoming a god is kind of like, it's got its drawbacks, much like the Dracolich or the vampire dragon. You are bound to your worshippers, much like the vampire is bound to its coffin and the lich is bound to its phylactery. The god is bound to their worshippers, and the worshippers dictate the actions of the god and attitudes of the god. So you may attain godhood, but you lose yourself. You become an icon of yourself. So essentially you become an AI emulation of what people thought you were. That's godhood. And it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like, a lot of gods want to not be gods, for instance. Look at the Dead 3 and Yergul. Yergul said, no, I don't want to be a god anymore. It doesn't fit my purposes now. But Yergul is a spellweaver anyway. I'm funding the next batch of chicken curry. Oh, how do you know about my chicken curries? Thanks. I actually have. I've got a curry sitting in my fridge, which I'm about to add. I'm making a perpetual curry. That's what I do during the winter. I have a slow cooker, and I put I just add stuff to it and never completely empty it out. Oh God, the flavors! Like, you start off with pork belly, so you fry up some pork belly and onion. That's the base. Then you add a few herbs and spices and stuff. Then you add like a curry mix to it. So I added a korma, and I put actual coconut flakes in it, shredded coconut, and then mixing that around in the pork belly, and the korma was brewing away. And I was getting this that edge of sort of anyway, it was spectacular. So I basically fished out all the meat, put the sauce back in the on the heat low, so it was just sort of ticking over. And then you just add some bacon later on, and then add some, you never top it up with water, you always top it up with stock. So you basically just make a perpetual stew. How do I get into Candlekeep the legal way? You just turn up with a book or a tome or something like that. You go up to the green door, and the avowed will either accept your book or not. But don't forget, there's a lot of publicly accessible information in libraries all around Candlekeep. Candlekeep is it's a town. It's almost like it's a bustling town. There's thousands of people living there. So yeah. You could go to there's the Great Library, but and in Candlekeep itself, like getting into Candlekeep, that's where the archives and stuff like that. Like if you go down in the dungeons, that's where the dangerous tomes protected by a spectral dragon is located. So that's why they sort of, yeah. But essentially, all you do is you show up and you deliver an addition to the library. You can even be delivering something which you've handwritten yourself. This is what the sage does: is he goes out, explores, writes a journal of his explorations of the contemporary world, comes back and hands it over, and they say, "Yes, you have another season of tenure." It's been so long now that this is kind of just like he could skip a year and deliver 2 journals in 1 year or whatever. And he was gone for like 5 years because he got stuck in Deepa Mascar, for instance, and then came back like nothing had ever happened. So his chambers were like, but yeah, so he doesn't live in the keep itself. He lives on one of the border towers on the ocean side, the western side. Anyway, so yeah, the legal way is to basically just donate a book to the avowed of Candlekeep, and they will let you in. One thing that's very important, Candlekeep is a misnomer because no flames burn inside Candlekeep. You can only use magical flame. Well, not flame at all, magical light, because obviously they don't want the fire risk. So yeah, they're very restricted. Like, for instance, he can only burn his fire in the chamber, like in the western side, but there's no like fires and stuff inside Candlekeep because of the books and things. And also down in the dungeon, some of the books are animated and predatory. So be careful. You may be bitten by a tome. You can hear the fluttering from a mile away, though, so no problem there. They're not very stealthy, particularly the bad books. What is up with Sekula? What are you in the 9 hells, Gino? Imagine Sekula swallowing up the iceberg of Levistus in his maw and dragging him beneath the waves and shattering him. I don't know if... I think Asmodeus would probably get involved. Because Asmodeus is... he likes having Levistus in an ice block. I don't think he'd want his toy, messed with. Really. I don't know. I'm certainly imagining it, though. Domain. Have you heard the rumors that the TV series on Driss? I don't believe it, and even if they did, I don't think it would be good. What are your thoughts, if any? No, I haven't heard the rumors. I think it would be awful. I always hold out hope because I'm an eternal optimist, but no, I don't think that's a very good idea. First of all, they're not going to do it as it is written. They're not going to do it justice. They're certainly going to, like, even the Forgotten Realms novels of Driss and stuff are not entirely accurate to the Forgotten Realms, like Guinevere, for instance, certainly does not conform to the usual figurines of wondrous power data set, abilities and stuff. There's a lot of creative leeway that R.A. Salvatore uses, but that's fine. That's fine. I've read and enjoyed all of the Driss novels, so yeah. Companions of the Hall and Canterbury and Wolfgar and so yeah, I haven't really heard much about it, and I don't really follow that news because it's just not of interest to me. One of the reasons one of my characters made a deal with an elder primal entity over going the usual path to godhood. Oh, I see. Anyone remember what Ed Greenwood releases modules on? At the moment, as far as I know, they're writing a lot of stuff on the Moonshae Isles, or they were last year. And yeah, but I have a collection of books for the Forgotten Realms that Ed Greenwood has been involved in publishing for the last 5 years or so. a lot of his titles go under the radar, which is really a crime considering he's the godfather of Forgotten Realms. But yeah, more and more collaborative projects with Ed, please, while we have the chance. It's just like if I've taken anything away from Ed Greenwood that I really, really appreciate, it's the attention to the little fine cultural details, like talking about the crab cakes, talking about the recipes in Thay, talking about the Latin language, or talking about like the script that they use, or finding examples of stuff. That's what I really love. The nitty gritty detail, like the level of zoom in ability of the Forgotten Realms is just way outclasses any other D&D setting, any other fantasy setting you can name. Like even the Lord of the Rings, possibly one of the most famous, well-researched settings for fantasy ever, pales in comparison to the amount of detail that the Forgotten Realms holds. It's had 50 years and hundreds of authors contributing to it. It is a massive archive, and it is a world that you could literally just get an AI to read all the material and emulate it like it's boom, it would just pop into life real. I can't wait to hear about somebody making the entirety of Toril as like a Minecraft map. I would live there. Yeah. So the thing I love most about Ed is that the world lives, it breathes. It's not just like veneer. It's not a generic fantasy. There's specific, stuff about it. And that's one of the things that really pisses me off. The Wizards of the Coast trying to turn it into a generic sort of setting. It's not generic. The Forgotten Realms is very much its own thing, It's not a generic place that you can set any sort of adventure in. Certainly depends on where you go and what you do, but there's the politics and the intrigue and the detail, the trade networks and the languages and the depictions of their cultures and things like that. That's what I love about Forgotten Realms the most. And like the reason, like anywhere you like throw a stone and start digging and you're going to find artifacts and civilizations, layers upon layers of history and lore in the Forgotten Realms. So you like can't throw a stone without hitting a legend somewhere in that place. So yeah, it's the best setting ever made, for sure. Whoa, Omnazar, what the? Not sure if you saw my previous comment, but I wanted to thank you again for your help with Dragon idea I've been working on. I really do appreciate taking time to help me with that. I'm a very inexperienced DMing, and your advice, mate, was incredibly helpful. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, no, look, anybody can approach me with questions at any time. I'm on Discord every day. I always answer my emails. Yeah, so if anybody's got any D&D questions, I am a professional sage. This is what I do for a living. So I'm happy to answer anybody's questions. Any question, doesn't matter what question it is. I will answer those questions about D&D for you, for sure. But thank you very, very much. That really made my day. Thank you. Like, you can tell I'm like emotionally impacted because I'm not laughing and thing. I look concerned for you financially. I'm like, thank you for giving me so much money. Please don't spend so much money on me. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, boy. That's, wow. Thank you. I haven't had a live chat donation like that for a long time. Okay, so we've got various subjects, because if I made a video with all of this information, it would be several hours long. I may actually do that. I may actually like change the format and have like several videos with a gap back to back. Do you like that idea? Like a zine style presentation where I have one subject and then like a gap for like a promotional product and then another subject and another subject. It'd be really hard to title and thumbnail the video though. I don't know. It'd be like a sketch comedy show with different lore aspects and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just stick with what I do already. Diva meets his Black Templar Space Marine. Oh, I ran a campaign where I converted D&D 4th edition. I converted Warhammer 40k, specifically a Space Marine troop, a squad, into 4th edition D&D, and I called it Dragon Hammer. And I ran a sample little test campaign with that, and my God, was it a brutal kill fest. So yeah, the premise is that Toril has been stuck in a warp bubble. So Toril wasn't aware that it was it thought it was in a crystal sphere. Anyway, so the crystal sphere pops because it's in the warp. The phlogiston is the warp, right? Kind of makes sense. And so all of these fantasy worlds that are in the phlogiston of the D&D multiverse are actually in the warp of Warhammer 40k. And if they pop out, then they contend with the fact that they're back in the universe and magic doesn't exist and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so the Space Marines have access to Toril now. They land with a drop pod, step out somewhere on the Sword Coast. First thing they see is like an elf or a dwarf. Xenos! The world is infested with them. So the idea is that there was like a big war going on between all these different factions, and then the world got sucked into the warp, and they all basically just turned into the fantasy races and the Forgotten Realms. God, it's a hilarious concept. But yeah, absolute slaughterfest, man. The Space Marines are so overpowered. But that's the whole point. Sorry, Matthew. Where is it? There it is. How do adventurers control more difficult creatures such as manticores and chimera? Oh, I would not. Like, manticores eat people and metal, so you don't mount a manticore. I've never heard of it done. And chimera are insane monsters. So you're not really taming one thing, you're taming 3 different creatures that all hate you and want you to die. So, yeah, no. Griffins are probably the closest you would get to a monster mount, or drakes. Drakes, for sure. Dragons, no. You're a friend with a dragon and they're giving you a lift, but don't talk about it. Drakes, on the other hand, can be tamed and ridden. So with a griffin, you basically bond with the griffin for life. It's like owning a parrot, you know what I mean? Except this parrot is huge, kills horses, and stuff like that. So yeah, one thing you'll notice around places where they have a lot of griffins is a lot of fat horses that don't get ridden. They just get put out to pasture to fatten them up, because that's what griffins eat. Griffins and boulet are one of the primary problems for the horse raisers of Murgome, actually. Yeah, the terrain is particularly good for griffins and boulet, land sharks, if you will. So the horse riders of Mulan are really good at taking out griffins, because they specialize in basically like the Mongols, the Huns. They ride on horseback and fire bows and throw javelins from horseback, because they need to be highly mobile and very fast. Otherwise, a griffin will absolutely dominate you. And of course, nowadays, one of the primary things that they have against griffins is dragons. Dragons will just go and burn out their roosts. Yeah, because dragons have no love for griffins, because griffins were on the dragon side on the giant side of things back in the day, along with rocks. Yeah. So the more difficult aspect of those is that you have to be constantly with them all the time, and they need to consider you to be basically their brood mate or necessary. So you need to constantly feed them yourself personally, so that they know that the food is coming from you. Never ever use any sort of like punishment on them that's like physical, because if you teach them that it's okay to hit you or that your hand can be used dangerously, they will just separate with their beak instantly. There's your hand gone. Yeah, griffins are formidable. I hope that answers your question. Basically constant. Like, so a player character is not very tenable for a player character unless you're like, that's the reason why people don't play mounted knights or the Cavalier, for instance. Cavalier was a great player character class and made a lot of sense for a fantasy world, but you just don't see people buying horses and riding around places and fighting foes and monsters on horseback in D&D. That's a big problem. That's a massive problem, because they just haven't supported it, really. The one time I got into a fight with a character on a horse, the horse was devastating. He took out like 4 or 5 people in a group, and managed to save my life. So yeah, if I didn't have that horse with me, I would have been dead for sure. I was surrounded. So horse is actually a huge advantage. Oh, Wereshark. There we go. Thanks, Sir William. Hey, Banana Rama. Nice to see you. With the exception of Virtuous, but so say that subjugation amount is very specific. Yeah. Obliterator in D&D. A Dragonelle for an alternate. Okay, so you're combining a dragon with a lion. Do you think that's going to be friendly? Do you see people riding lions? A liger, maybe. You could ride a liger. Craig's seed eats griffins. Yeah. Yeah, the drake will eat a griffin. Yeah, I ride a drake. I knew an old lady who ridden a dog. I don't know why she ridden a dog. She jumped a log. And then the dog got eaten by a griffin, who got eaten by a drake, who got eaten by a dragon, who got eaten by a Tarrasque, who got eaten by Secular. Yeah, there's always a bigger fish. Yeah, there are still contemporary examples of the war horses of old. The Flemish horses they look like draft horses until you realise they're not. They're not a draft horse because they were that big. Yeah. A lot of people think it was like so that they were big enough to carry around the mounted knights with all their armor and stuff. That's not true. It's just so that they could take hits, essentially. They wanted a big, because the horse and its purpose in combat is to bowl straight through you. Yeah, so bigger the horse, the better. If they could ride a rhino, they would. So essentially, that was I'm surprised they didn't have a lot of spiked forward facing or blades that came out from the front of the horse. That would have been most impressive. Probably would do more damage to the rider than anything, because when you fall off a horse, you tend to fall forward. So you don't want a lot of blades and stuff on the front of the horse. I have ridden horses, by the way. That would be bite, kick, and were exceptionally well trained, from my understanding. If the rider fell from the horse, it would stand above them and guard them. Yeah, absolutely. Horses are fairly intelligent. If you were dismounted and go into, say, an inn, you would draw a circle in the dirt, drop the reins in it, and then step out. The horse wouldn't move. If someone tried to steal it, it would kill them. Yeah. Oh, okay. Hang on. I might be thinking of a dragonette, or yeah. There's another dragon lion crossbreed thingy. Yeah, so most of the riding, I call them drakes, basically. Any non-intelligent, non-sapient dragon is in the drake category. Or particularly if they have the wyvern body set, wyvern or wyvern. Triceratops mount would be so cool. Yes, Volps, the long lifespan of the sage has caused many questions and suspicions from people that he's met during his life. Mostly, it's not the people that he meets during his life because he traveled so widely and stuff. But for instance, back in Lurin, they know that he's not normal. In Candlekeep, they know that he's not normal. And Larlock and the Circle of Eight know that he's not. The Twisted Rune, know that he's not normal. He was recognized by a devil of the Nine Hells. For being what he was when he was in Sigil, which is why the devil talked to him. And of course, he has basically he's got the understanding at the moment that he's allowed to be on Toril as an immortal because he's essentially not using any of his power. He's only there to gain power, not to spend any. But if faced with say he landed in Murgome and he landed in front of a dragon lord, and then it lashed out and tried to bite him in half for no reason, his gut reaction would just be to drop his mortal disguise and return to immortal form, in which case the dragon would probably have its head explode. And everybody in the room would be dead. That's how much power immortals have when they just release it raw. And that's not even spending power points, that's just dropping the disguise. So yeah. That's also why he built the High Hand Spire on the islands off the Sword Coast, is so that he could relax in Dragon. Thanks, Sir William. You're like my tech support backup. That's fantastic. So he's got a place where he can just be himself if he wants to. So yeah, don't go uninvited into the High Hand Spire. You may be immolated by what you find. But yeah, he's lived for centuries and centuries. So going by, he's mostly writes about like the lore from the 1300s. So he's probably about 500 or 600 years old at this point. Do the Twisted Rune hate the Sage? Yes, they do. Particularly Larlock. Well, Larlock kind of, he's got a love-hate relationship. He's not really interested in anything that mortals do, but the fact that he was involved, or an artifact that he held was used by the Sage to become an immortal, is something that both annoys and amuses him immensely. He's chosen his own form of immortality, and he probably realizes like by comparison, becoming an immortal is far more difficult than becoming a lich. But a lich is really just like a Russian roulette chance. You know, it's not a sure thing that you're going to be transformed into a lich. And yeah, you do die, and your existence is a horrible tug-of-war match between infernal powers that you pledge your allegiance to, with no intention of ever following through with it. So you're constantly living in fear and addicted to magic like it's crack cocaine. And you cannot exist without magic, because the moment that you do run out, or somebody breaks through your defenses, or your guard slips for a moment, your soul is torn asunder and divided amongst whoever wants to torture you for eternity first. Yeah. Happy Gothic noises. So yeah. Sorry, Pyre, we're signing out. This has been a extra long live stream, but that's good, because I needed to catch up and talk about stuff. And yeah, so this coming month we've got probably do a video on vampire dragons to begin with, and then we'll start leading into talking about the Dragon Princes, Murgome, Thay, Semphar, Mulhorand, the Sea of Fallen Stars, the whole political scene around that place, the dragons involved, what they're doing. I would suggest, before watching the video, watch the video on Zorventhal, the Great Game of Dragons, before watching the Mulhorandi, the Murgome series, because I don't want to have to explain the whole dragon Zorventhal to everybody every time I mention it. Yeah, I am. Like, my health is good. That's good. Yeah, yeah. They do have similar names, Dragonelle and Dragonette. Battletech Gothic. Oh, it's been great to talk to you guys. I wish you all the very best, everybody. Happy gaming, and as always, I'll be back with more for you very soon.